Good evening. Welcome back to Wizards Outlook. It's been a little while, like a 72-hour break, it feels like, in terms of the All-Star break, back to the second half of the season. For Wizards fans, it did not start well. As always, got Cardell, Dudley Jr., Raymond, Lyons, Wilson Tarpeh Jr., and let's get into this, the first edition of Wizards Outlook in the second half of the season. The Memphis Grizzlies sweep the season series with the Wizards by beating them 127-112. Jonas Valanciunas had video game numbers on there, was literally a free throw away from 30-20. And even though it was 29-20, it felt like 35-20. Like his imprints was all over this game. Felt like he single-handedly put a paw on every member of the front court of Washington's, the entire group of them as a whole. He did whatever he wanted. It didn't matter who was on him. There was times when it was 2-on-1 and they were the ones that were in trouble down there trying to box out. They were the ones calling for help. So let you guys get into this, Cardell and Ray.
I'm gonna start with Scott Brooks. Got this. I checked out his post game following the game. He kept it real about how Brad Beal struggles against Memphis. We kind of at first, we gave props to Memphis in the first game a couple of weeks ago. They played him great, but we felt like Beal just missed some shots. You know what I mean? But coming off All-Star break, he was rusty. And they brought the same type of intensity and defense to him, and he had an even worse night. Sometimes in basketball, it's just certain teams and certain guys that just have your number. It's just like that. And it looks like Dylan Brooks. He's looking like the Bill stopper right now. Bill gonna have to get on that because he's making Bill think, and normally Bill's making the defenders think. So Scott Brooks touched on that. He said they're throwing bodies at him. They're physical. They face guarding him. They're basically daring other Wizards to beat them. And he said until the Wizards start hitting shots, especially from three-point range, that's how it's going to be. I think now that we're in the second half and teams going to start gearing up for the playoffs, you're going to see more teams adopt that philosophy. So if other guys don't step it up offensively, they just going to make it hell for Bill, and this thing will be over real quick as far as trying to get in the playoff push. He said he obviously didn't like the transition defense. It was just atrocious. He said he felt like Memphis scored all game long in transition. And he said obviously it's hard to win having that happen. He said the Grizzlies scored like 40 in the first half in the paint. They finished the game scoring 78 points in the paint, which is ridiculous. But and they obviously scored 27 points on fast break points. So they got whatever they wanted, man. You know what I mean? You can't allow that. Brooks said you can't allow that at any level. You don't care if it's the NBA or out on the playground. You're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose bad. And one other thing he touched on, he said the Wizards got to control their emotions, stop being technicals, stop putting their head down when they miss shots, and just play basketball. They just have to play better. He said we got a tough stretch of games. In a sense, guys got to man up and just do their job. And as long as they do that, they'll be competitive and be in the mix. As far as overall in the game, like you said, this is Jonas' night. He dominated. The bigs were food. It wasn't really much. 29 points, 20 rebounds, and 4 blocks. I mean, it ain't really much else to say. But in the preview, two things I looked at, especially in comparison to the first game where they lost, I really focused in on turnovers and rebound, offensive rebound to be specific. The Wizards did a great job controlling the ball. I think they only had 9 turnovers, but the rebounds was, I mean, look, man, 60-39. It's just if you don't got the ball, that's why they was out running. As soon as they get the ball, they had the ball. That's why they was getting out. They're a top 10 rebounding team. They're 4th in the league in offensive rebounding, a little over 11 a game. Valanciunas, he had 9 offensive rebounds by himself. Just to keep this in perspective, the Wizards centers, they have a group of centers, Wagner, Len, and Lopez. They combined to have 11 rebounds overall for offensive combined. Yeah. 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 Uh, There's nothing else we can say off that, man. I mean, that's game. That's how they got on the transition. They get the board, we run. And we already know Memphis is more athletic than the Wizards, top to bottom. So, it is what it is, man. I mean, I feel like the Wizards got off to a bad start. They looked sluggish, all-star break hangover. I kind of shot the two. Then they started fighting back. Russell Westbrook, he played the best out of all of the Wizards. He had a great game, all-around game. He got some he got some help from Rui in the first half and whatnot. Then, Denny and Davies got going in the second half. Bill was 0 for it to the second half, but he was getting to the free throw line. So I thought that got him a rhythm when he made some shots, but he was just off all night, man. You could just tell his whole rhythm was just off. Because I know after the All-Star game, he just basically just chilled out, which he should have, but you gotta know who you also about to play. You know what I mean? So they knew they're confident and they're younger and they don't need they just run and gun, though. That's their style. You know what I'm saying? So they don't need a lot of offensive sets to do what they do. They strap up, they turn you over, they rebound, and they do what they do best, run and fly. And when you're young and athletic, man, you don't need to be in rhythm for that. That's just natural. So that's just what it is, man. But I just feel like it was Memphis night. They dominated inside out. Ja Morant had a solid game, and everybody else just did what they do, man. It was kind of mostly a repeat of what we saw earlier last week, except they did a better job on Bill. And the Wizards look like they got work to do. They're going to need a couple practices because this rhythm, if they keep this type of rhythm up, they'll be out of the playoffs by next week easily because this stretch is real.
Right.
Yeah, man. Memphis, they were just in control from the tip. They steamrolled the Wizards, and they just never relinquished control of the game. I was anxious to see how what they would do different with Bill after the last time they played Memphis, and Dillon Brooks gave him a lot of problems defensively. They tried to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes they had him bring the ball up. They ran him off a couple of screens away from the ball, but Brooks wasn't having it, man. He wasn't giving him any space. He wasn't letting him breathe. He was so aggressive that he got 2 illegal screen calls, just by being active and chasing Bill everywhere. So, man, just kudos to him. Like Cardell said, is not often we see, Bradley Beal with his back against the wall like this and just, being dominated defensively the way Brooks did these 2 games. So, man, that's just impressive on Brooks' behalf. But Memphis, they didn't show any respect to the Wizards' interior defense. They just attacked the rim mercilessly, and they weren't facing much resistance. So why stop? So that was a point of concern for Washington. Westbrook and Garrison Matthews, they had good energy to start the game, but they were the only 2, and you definitely need a full deck, scrapping and competing when you're playing against Memphis. Because that's just a grinded out team. Yeah, I agree. The Wizards they just looked hung over, man. And this is not the right team to face when you're rusty and sluggish, because they're going to jump all over you and push the pace. And if you can't match that intensity, then you're gonna be in a world of trouble. Valanciunas, you guys talked at length about him. He just destroyed the Wizards. It was nothing they could do with him. The Wizards, man, they got married to that 3-point shot, and it wasn't falling. And those bad shots might as well be long live ball turnovers against a team like Memphis, especially when they dominate in the rebounds like that. They just get the ball and push, and that's a run out and a layup for them. And also Memphis, they get deflections. They're in the passing lane. They're turning you over anyway. So not taking sound shots and having good possessions is just playing into their hands. Ja Morant, man, he just looked so poised. He controlled the game. He got what he wanted. He set guys up, got to the rim and finished. Kyle Anderson played a good game. Desmond Bane, I liked his energy, his shot selection. He was just really, really aggressive. Memphis, I just feel like Memphis and teams like them, they're a bad matchup for the Wizards because offensively, it's not like Washington's has super crisp ball movement, like, those great Spurs teams or anything like that. They just, of course they have Bill, who's dynamic. They have Westbrook, who's dynamic. When Bertans has been hitting shots, that's helped them, spread the floor and whatnot. But, you got to be methodical against a team like Memphis, who plays great defense. And, just waiting for guys to start making shots is not going to get it. Especially coming off a break when you're not in rhythm and you're not even able to practice. Yeah, man, it was just all out domination by Memphis. Wizards had that one little run where they took the lead briefly, but it just went back to the same old. I think a key point in the game, I think they were down by 2, and they kicked it ahead to Westbrook, and he fumbled the pass. And John Morant was able to save it and throw it off Westbrook and get the turnover. I feel like at that point, if they would have tied the game up or something, maybe some momentum would have crept back in. I don't know, but just another hustle play by Memphis to reestablish themselves and regain their footing. But a great performance by them. Wizards got to go back to the drawing board. They got a homestand coming up, and just a tough stretch of games to really determine their playoff future, to be perfectly honest. Like you guys said, we could pretty much know what's the deal with them by the end of next week. But yeah, they just got a few things to clean up and just get back in sync after the break.
Yeah, not really too much to add on, but one of the things I know, Cardell, you mentioned a couple times this year, against some teams, this being one of them, having so many specialists and so many people that are comfortable putting the ball on the floor and just comfortably making decisions, it costs you. Because Memphis is like, oh, you have to be fed to eat. Cool.
Hell on defense.
Yeah, cool.
Defense.
And
I'm watching the clip that you posted, and even the shots the Wizards made, when they get a screen, dudes hedging out hard, they switching hard, they rotating hard. It is bodies on every Wizards player. They got to make tough shots every shot. You don't see that normally across the league, man. Coming off an All-Star break, it is, and you're not used to that. Like you said, and you specialists, and they're forcing you to do things you're not comfortable doing when you are in rhythm, and then you're out of rhythm. Yeah, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be out there. They make you feel like you can't hoop. It's just as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Like even Bill felt it.
Yeah.
People don't even understand that 2 games against Memphis, Bill is shooting 14 from 40. That's 35 from the field. That's 35%. I ain't even look at 3. I don't even want to look that up.
You don't.
So
No. And the biggest thing with them is like, I know, names like Dylan Brooks or Justice Winslow, not the most exciting names to hear. You know who doesn't like, who is very aware of those types of names? People that score the basketball in the NBA. Those aren't fun people to deal with, man. Essentially, those are 2 big behind guards that can chase you, hassle you, bother you, and have length who you're not physically moving out your way. You know what I'm saying? Even just a little push-pull to get free. You push them, the pull ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? You throw your hands there, you're not getting your hands back. They coming with you. Where we going? And that's what's happening around the screens. And the other thing, and I'm sure you guys saw this, Jonas was so high up, he was literally just walking around the elbow and the foul line on defense, unbothered by anything. Like, none of y'all gonna come box me out, stress me out, or anything. And like you said, Cardell, you already hedging hard, and just in case you get by, here's Jonas just, hello, people.
And Tillman down there from Michigan State. He's another tough, physical, Izzo-bred big man coming up behind him. Clark, we all know. I mean, he saw Bertans down there, and it was like, why are you here, bro? He put both forearms in the round, and Bertans knew better. He basketball IQ, no doubt, respect. He knew what he was dealing with, and I felt like the game was over honestly, when Ja threw the lob and Valanciunas punched on Wagner after he was chirping.
And he was like this?
He just like he punched on him and all that, and it flexed on him. I like, yeah, it's over though after that. You know what I'm saying? Because Look, man, KG said it best. It's cool to talk trash, but you gotta be able to back it up, man. Like you could be an irritant, but you gotta do something to back it up here and there where it you can get under my skin. Because if you can't play enough, man, I'm gonna laugh at you, then I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, but that's just what it is.
I mean, that's essentially what happened. Think about what you said earlier. You had 3 centers, had 11 boards. This man had 29. And like you said, yeah, Mo, you're known for being an irritant, but this is also, there's levels to this. You're just an irritant at this point. You got to take a step to be to be productive. Right now, you're just an irritant. Yeah, you bother some people. And all you did was bother him enough to make sure that you don't ever want any more smoke with him. Oh, 29 and 20? You took it out on your team.
Wagner had 6 and 4 and 2 and 9. And fouled out.
Oh, my God.
And then the other thing, like, you know, not to keep harping on the specialist thing, but I have a feeling going through this stretch this month, we're going to bring this up quite a bit because we're going to see similar teams, like y'all mentioned, essentially doing the same thing. You got Milwaukee back-to-back games this weekend coming up. You think they about to be leaving other people for – no. It's a race, Brad. Hey, if Russ do stuff, and we're going to live with it. And cool.
Boy.
You know, you got back-to-back them, and then depending on who plays for Philadelphia, obviously, you know, if Big Joel plays, that's you saw what Joel did.
They just said he cleared. Ben is the question mark. Ben is the question mark.
So you got Joel, you got that duo Joel and Dwight coming.
But you got an angry Joel. He ain't playing the All-Star game. So he's going to be the most unstoppable player in the league. He's going to be in that full mode.
And again, you got Philadelphia. You know, we know what they're chasing at the top of the East. They want to make sure they put distance between them folks right behind them. You know, so it's like this is early in the season where, you know, you got a chance to get up on like you have their full attention right now because they need these games. Mm-hmm. Folks need this separation right now. We see how crazy this year is, man. You got those two back to back, like, and that's the thing that bothers me the most was there's no resistance. If Jonas Valanciunas was down there unbothered, Giannis lives down there.
No, they don't. People don't understand how much of he is down there. When we covered that, and this was Jeff Green and Trevor Ariza a couple years ago, and they like body him on top, and he just just punched on him like 3 times. Like, little boy, I'm like, dog. They don't understand. So that's why they be like, well, why don't he shoot a jump? I'm like, look at man, when you can do what you can do, the hell with them jumpers. If you can do what Giannis do and you settle for jumpers, you're helping the defense. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. He needs to be able to create better opportunities in the playoffs when they shrink the floor and all that. But nah, man, stay with your bread and butter, man, because you letting them off the hook. You know, if you shooting jumpers, good. It's like when Embiid a few years ago was shooting all those threes. Thank you. But you see, Doc changed all that. Now he's, to me, the front runner for MVP. You know what I'm saying? He's averaging more points shooting less threes. So the dynamic is him getting on the block and murdering people staying in the pick and roll. It's not hard, but, I mean, yeah, they got some dogs coming in, but I expect Bill to bounce back. I expect him to be pissed because, yeah, this ain't a building type night, man. And this team – This team is one of those teams that just I know is irritating them, so I expect him to have a much better night on Friday.
Right, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So we will speak with you guys then in regards to the Wizards. Next time we'll talk to you is Friday. Tomorrow night, you know, we told you guys hanging with us with the G League rundown. It was a very condensed G League season. It will, you know, it culminates tomorrow in the championship game. Following the championship game, so about 7 p.m. we'll be right back here tomorrow night for the final G League rundown of this season. I'm looking forward to that. You know, we'll see you guys then. And as always, follow us at the Focus TV and all your social media mediums. Y'all have a great evening.